All right, so, awesome to win a game in that environment. You know, told the guys all week, hey, this place is going to be electric. As soon as we heard it was going to be a sellout, 102,000. I remember what it was like when we were here and, like the South Carolina game and the energy. So, knew we were going to have to weather a storm early of energy and emotion. And a lot of stuff went wrong in the first quarter. And luckily, we really played good defense, to keep us hanging around. And, the quarterback, I don't know what you say about him. I mean, he doesn't have his left guard. He doesn't have two of his top three receivers. Doesn't have the tight ends out, and the guy ended up with sacks carrying the ball 30 times. So that was not by design. Now some of the quarterback draws as big plays obviously were by design because of their coverages. But, you can't say enough for a guy to do that on the road and put the game on his shoulders. So we should have done better when we got the ball back there with a minute left to win the game, put our defense in a rough situation, and the punt return. So, our defense really won the game twice. So it was awesome to see. And we needed that. If we would have won like last week, another not blowout, but another high-scoring game like last week, then we're sitting here with that same feeling about, here we go again on defense. So, that was a really hot offense, as everybody knows, and we played really good on defense.
Questions?
Nick Suss.
Lane, what do you say to your team during that delay, and just kind of what was your reaction to everything that's happened in that 20-minute stoppage?
I just wanted to play. I mean, the players got helmets. It's the coaches that are going to get hit. Like, I still have my souvenir golf ball that I got hit with. But so, I mean, I just said, put the helmets on, let's play. And really, the Tennessee people, were really down there on the field, were taking care of us. I think David Elliott, was over there. We're worried more about the players than anything else, even the Tennessee people. So that was really, really cool to see that part of it.
Was the golf ball the only thing you got hit by, or was it more than that?
There's some number of bottles with some brown stuff in them, so I'm not sure. Probably not moonshine. I don't think they'd waste the moonshine on me.
Joe Cook.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned your defense. Just how proud are you of your defense? As you said, back-to-back weeks, they pretty much, sealed wins for you. Is that kind of the next step that you want to see from the defense? Clutch playmaking?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a lot better feeling defensively than a week ago. A week ago we made the 1 2-point play stop, but this one we stopped them a number of times, including a 4th down stop. And, I mean, we just make it dramatic. I think it was 4th and 24, and they made 23 in 3 quarters. So I guess that's kind of the story of our life. It just don't go real easy. So to see them rise to that, and then after I don't know how long, felt like a 30-minute delay. Then we do a really bad job of 3-and-out on offense and don't cover the punt well and put our defense in a rough position. And they did a great job. Really rushed there with 3 at the end. Relentless effort. Ended up getting 5 sacks, against a very athletic quarterback.
Blake Topmeyer.
Yeah, Lane, I have 2 questions. One, it was like 5 hours ago, but what happened on the 4th down play where Matt stood there and got tackled? And I'll wait for your answer and then ask the second part.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It was really unfortunate, kind of like the crazy things of the nights that happen. Our offensive guys heard a whistle because it's really a pass. He's going to throw the ball that Plumlee's not covered. Drum cracks the guy and knocks the guy over, and Plumlee's in the flat, going to go for a long ways. And Matt and a number of the offensive players just stopped. That's why he just let them have the ball. And even some of their defensive players stopped, I think. So the ref said they didn't blow it. So somehow we all heard a whistle that didn't happen. And so unfortunately, like I was saying, that was like a 14-point play. It felt like, because they picked it up and went and scored. And we had a guy wide open for a huge play.
Then part 2, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a few years ago. You mentioned on a podcast that when you were at Alabama, the Alabama security team recommended that you wear a bulletproof vest when you make your return to Neyland Stadium, and you said that that was not necessary. In light of tonight, I mean, I guess, did you feel like any extra security was needed? And I asked this, I guess, sort of in jest, but did you feel like, at any point that your safety was kind of threatened at any point?
I don't know. Like I didn't even think about it till we got off the bus in that same area as the Alabama area. And, the majority of the people were actually really good, especially early in warm-ups. I think it was more, students that weren't even, I don't know, they were 8 or something when we were here before or whatever. So, because early on going out there, I thought it was a different reception. But I think that's one of the most passionate fan bases in America. And you got 100,000 of them together, and things don't go their way when all that energy's going, and, they got upset. I don't know if it was. I'm not sure it wasn't partly at the refs too, because they replayed the play, and I think they're watching his other hand thinking they had a first down. So, it is what it is.
Nick Suss.
I mean, just from your perspective, what was the difference for the defense on the last couple of drives this week compared to last week?
I think Jake Springer makes a difference. I think that was pretty obvious throughout the game. And, the last time that guy played significantly was the opener, I think. So, I think he makes difference, and we didn't give up many plays, big plays, explosive plays. So, and we controlled the clock, which we don't even try to do. I mean, at one point I looked up, we were over 10 minutes ahead of time of possession, which probably helps your defense. We don't know what that's like, but we ran 101 plays on offense without penalties, so that's probably over 110 plays that were run. So that's all helps the defense sitting there.
Joe Cook.
Coach, you mentioned how Matt Corral just really put the team on his back with his rushing ability. I'm curious, maybe heading into this game, with the way Matt runs the ball, have y'all said, hey, we're going to need you to slide more because you're basically like, our most valuable player. And how do you coach him in that, going forward, even though he had to do tonight?
Well, we've tried that, and actually Matt did it early. He actually slid in the open field, and I think then it got competitive, and, he lost, Braylon early, to an injury, and I think he just kind of felt like, hey, this ain't going to be a slide game. He's going to have to do a lot on his own, which is what he did. And, I've said it before, I hope our fans appreciate this guy. I hope every home game's a sellout, because you ain't got many times left to see this guy, and he is a special, special player.
One more.
Blake Topmeyer, go ahead.
Yeah, Lane, I'm going to ask another two-parter. Part one, a lot of injuries tonight. What do you make of that, and do you think those were all legitimate?
That was a two-part question.
I was going to say my second part.
So we were heavily injured coming into the game, especially offensively. I mean, I really do not remember something like this except for sanctions at USC. The lack of depth on offense at skilled positions that we had today. And you saw guys playing a lot of snaps and wearing down, and not even necessarily household names that you're used to. So, and there were just, it was a high play count game, and there were a lot of injuries both sides. So, I mean, the fans boo when it's us, but they had a lot of injuries too. So, just a really high play count game.
And if I could ask a quick follow-up, I mean, you've been back to Neyland and won before. Are the emotions any different as a head coach, I guess, as compared to as a coordinator coming back and winning here?
Well, emotions are different because the two Alabama games were blowouts. So when you go to the end like that, and the fans' energy and going back and forth and the delay and all that, and I'm sure it's human nature that when you're the head coach, it feels a little bit different. But I really, I thanked our players. I didn't say a thing all week. This game is not about me, and it's still not about me. But I did thank our players for coming through, because, it does feel a lot better walking off the field winning, getting told all those things that they say versus losing. So